Baldwin, the defending Long Island champs, despite many new faces, are off to a 7-0 start in the 2016-2017 season. The Holy Trinity Titans return a familiar cast of characters led by several powerful seniors. It's a budding out-of-conference rivalry. The Titans and Bruins next from Adelphi University on News 12 Varsity. Well, hello again, everyone. Welcome to Adelphi University. It's the nightcap of the Gary Charles Hoops Classic between Holy Trinity and Baldwin. Matt Shortis with you, and we're so glad you could join us for this contest. These two teams, they've both talked about the rivalry that is developing between Holy Trinity and Baldwin, so much so that they pointed to a summer league game, a summer league championship that took place this past summer at Kennedy Park in Hempstead, which saw Holy Trinity edge out Baldwin by 2 points, and both coaching staffs brought up that game with some familiarity for both of these squads. Holy Trinity, we talked about a returning cast of characters. They're led by one of those familiar faces, Cameron Winter. In his third year on the varsity, he was called up at the tail end of the season in 2014 when they won the league championship and the Catholic Church championship in 2014, coming off a tremendous game against St. John the Baptist where he had 24 points, averaging 16 on the season. And just one returning starter for Baldwin from last year's Long Island Championship team, Javion Bivens, averaging 14 points per game so far, a three-year player, all conference last year. But he's got a chance to be the first Baldwin player in history to win 3 county titles. So he brings a winning pedigree to this Baldwin squad. It's Baldwin and Holy Trinity coming up next from Adelphi University. Welcome back to Adelphi University at the Gary Charles Hoops Classic, the final game of 5 here this evening. Holy Trinity coming in at 7-2, 1-1 in league play, and they're coming off an 83-61 win over St. John the Baptist, coached by Joe Conifrey in his 11th season as head coach out of Hopewell Valley. And the starting lineup for the Titans looks like this. Thornton Scott returned to the lineup against St. John the Baptist. He's starting tonight. Taj Jenkins, Cameron Winter, and the front court is Tyler Small and Aiden Barry. Baldwin at 7-0, coached by Darius Burton in his 17th season as head coach out of Baldwin High School, 6-time county champ. For Darius, who's always got the towel around his neck, and the starting lineup for the Bruins is as follows. It's Norman Wilson, Javion Bivens, and Elijah Bovell in the backcourt, with Nassim Silent and Ian Rager up front. Our officials tonight are Andre Smith, Jorge Martinez, and James Howard. And both teams coming off wins. Obviously Baldwin being 7-0, they have just dominated some teams, coming off an 82-55 win over Plainview Old Bethpage. In a very balanced effort in which Bivens and Wilson each had 14 points. They get scoring up and down the lineup. And Holy Trinity got a boost from Thornton Scott. Only had 3 points on Friday night against SJB. But he is getting some Division I interest from Fairleigh Dickinson and Marist and Loyola. Baldwin was supposed to play on this court last night against Construction out of Queens in another tournament. And the latter 3 games of that tournament, or 4 games, got canceled because of the snow. Tip is won by Baldwin as they move left to right to start here in the home white jerseys. And it's Norman Wilson. Nice bounce pass down low, tough angle shot from Bovell, and the rebound to Holy Trinity, but then they throw it away. Norman Wilson, second-year player after transferring from Long Beach last year. Baldwin turns it over, lead pass ahead for Jenkins. Jenkins has his shot blocked. Nice job by Nassim silent to get back, but unable to keep it in bounds. Well, that was tremendous transition defense by Silent. The 6'3" junior. This is an older Baldwin team, but lacking perhaps the experience that they've had in years past. And now the officials will get together and say that there was a foul on that play. On Aiden Barry. So Wilson, who's got some Division III schools interested in him, will bring it up. Oswego, Mount St. Mary's. And a pass from Javion Bivens goes way off. Chris Bergman's got some expensive stuff on that table. He wasn't paying attention either. He's editing photos. Sure, he would not have appreciated a ball right to the center logo of his laptop. Still looking for our first basket in the first minute here. Cameron Winter. Thornton Scott from way downtown. That one's well off the mark. Javion Bivens will feed to Bovell, and Bovell is fouled on the floor by Scott. And Scott, who had not played all season, made his season debut on Friday against St. John the Baptist. Here's Bivens out on the perimeter. Bivens on the two-man game, pick and roll, finds Rieger underneath for the first basket of the game. Ian Rieger last year was the third center, but he banged with some pretty good players and developed himself in the offseason. Jenkins, Aiden Barry, and they'll feed back up top to Scott. Scott off a screen, left side for Winter. Winter, mid-range jumper on the floater, goes in. Elijah Bovell will stop and pop. Now the team's in a bit of a rhythm. Scott finding Tyler Small. 2 minutes gone by in the opening quarter. Small trying to feed Barry. Kick back out for Jenkins in the near side corner. In and out on the three. Rebound, free throw line jumper is good for Winter. So Cameron Winter's got all 4 points for Holy Trinity in the early going. Bivens just outside the free throw line, misses to the side. Here's Scott straight away, wide open three-pointer. Unfriendly bounce, nearly went down. Baldwin in trouble as they're not able to keep possession in transition. Three minutes gone by in the opening quarter, tied at 4. Baldwin and Holy Trinity, the final game of the Gary Charles Hoops Classic. And a moving screen set by Aiden Barry. That'll be his second personal in this quarter. Barry and Fabian Holder. Sort of a 1-2 punch down low. Somewhat interchangeable in the way that Joe Conifer uses them. And now it will be Holder who comes in. Wilson, as the double team pressures out up top. Find the open man in Bivens. Bivens drives left side of the lane, reverses to his right hand to scoop it in. You probably will not see a lot of 20-point scorers coming from Baldwin, but they will get scoring up and down the lineup. Nice feed down low to Scott. As we're tied at 6. Little trouble from Silent to hold on. Norman Wilson, pick and roll. Rieger finds himself wide open, puts it on the floor a little too strong, and frustrated with himself, he adds some insult to injury as he fouls Fabian Holder on the rebound. Well, they don't get Rieger on the foul. They call it against Nassim Silent. Midway through the quarter, as we are tied at 6. Looking down low for Tyler Small. Small can't handle it, but it will stay with Holy Trinity. As the official at the scorer's table. I think they're trying to look at the shot clock because it was reading 33 seconds. So they set it to 19. Tyler Small, spin move in the paint. Good touch down low for the junior out of North Babylon. First lead for Holy Trinity at 8-6. Rieger, the rebound. Kick out Bivens. He'll try a three, it's good. Ball went out of bounds, but a kickball. So it'll stay Holy Trinity ball. 3:35 to go in the first. Here's Cameron Winter. Rieger flashes out, then settles back. Jenkins, free throw line jumper with Rieger in his face off the square. Now Taj Jenkins averaging just under 7 points per game. Bivens trying to feed to Rieger off the pick and roll. Winter on the interception. Winter to the basket. Had his shot altered. The follow won't go. And then Scott unable to keep it in play. Boy, I've been impressed with Ian Rieger. Earlier this week against Valley Stream Central, 8 points, 5 rebounds, 4 blocks. And that's the sort of performance you can expect from the 6'6" senior. Norman Wilson, turnaround jumper. Gets the roll. Quickly up ahead, Taj Jenkins, he'll try a three off the back heel. Silent's got the board for Baldwin. 2.5 minutes to play in the first quarter, 11-10, Bruins on top. Bivens bullying his way down, and it was deflected out of bounds. Matt Trepida in the game for the first time, coming in for Javion Bivens. Norman Wilson as they try and set the screen for him. Trepida to the left side. Comes back up top. A round on the perimeter for Silent. Short on a three-pointer. Tipped up. Taken back down by Silent. Loses the dribble. Out to Bavell it comes. Bavell absorbs some contact down low. And eventually it's John Smith to finish for Baldwin. Baldwin intercepted. Silent gets the pass and lays it in. Back-to-back baskets very quickly for Baldwin. And Joe Conifrey wants a timeout. Well, this Holy Trinity team, this tournament for the Gary Charles Hoop Classic has much more of a Long Island feel than it did last year. You have Upper Room Christian in it, Lawrence Woodmere, Copic and Brentwood, Half Hollow Hills West and Eastwood last game, and of course this game. And Gary Charles reached out to Joe Conifrey, asking if he'd want to play in this game, and he said, yeah, absolutely. And then seeing it was Baldwin, he said it's a cool little rivalry that we've developed over the last few years. And there's Gary Charles, the man who has organized this tournament, having a well-earned slice of pizza. for all the work that goes into this, especially with the weather that we had this weekend in the Empire tournament that got canceled because of the snow yesterday. So out of the timeout, Trinity finding themselves trailing by 5. Tyler Small on the right side corner. Winter. Back it comes for Small. Kick ball off the foot of Norman Wilson. Here's Cameron Winter, who had the first 4 points of the game for Holy Trinity. Very quickly into the painted area. Follows his own shot and is fouled. John Smith called for the personal. Derek Ruffin Jr. getting ready to check in. Cameron Winter at the line. Captain for this team. Bouncing it around and in. And not in, pardon me. Baldwin will play about 10 guys. All 10 have gotten in so far. Winter missing on the shot, but the rebound to Jenkins. Three-pointer is good. For Thornton Scott. Cuts the Baldwin lead to 2. Trepida a little trouble with this. Recovered by Ruffin Jr. They'll slow it down for a moment. Inside the final minute of play in this first quarter. Long two-pointer for Norman. He missed on the shot. Holder's got it for Trinity. Bring it up quickly, Jenkins. Another 3 for Scott. Back-to-back trays for Thornton Scott, who's got 8 in the quarter. And Holy Trinity back on top by 1. Wilson trying to feed across the lane, bounces off the fingertips. And Holy Trinity will have it with 30 seconds left in the first quarter. So Scott slowing it down. As Winter with 13 seconds left, and Holy Trinity will hold for the final shot. Scott trying to drive his way in. Scott will flick it up, won't go, and the horn will sound. So 1 point game after 1. Thornton Scott finding his stroke to the end of that quarter and putting Trinity on top 16-15. Back at Adelphi, getting ready to start the second quarter. It's Holy Trinity on top of Baldwin 16-15. Matt Shortis with you as Nick McTeague has checked into the game for Holy Trinity, as has Tim Callahan. McTeague up top for Scott. He's swinging around for Winter. Long 3 again for Scott. Well, you know, he's not afraid to shoot it from anywhere on the court. Bounce pass inside to Bovell, intercepted. Cameron Winter quickly streaking up the floor. Winter's shot altered, put back in by Callahan. He had 10 points in the last game against St. John the Baptist, one of 4 players in double figures. Right side 3 for Wilson, no good. Rebounded by Callahan. Lead pass ahead. That one hits the underside of the backboard and takes a big bounce. Out beyond the 3. Now Winter will try a jumper, no good. Nassim Silent back in. And Baldwin getting a little ahead of themselves, and they've created and been forced into some unforced errors, just trying to go too fast. Holy Trinity will slow it a moment. Scott and Winter, two of the big guns for this Holy Trinity team. Outside, McTeague. Callahan drives on the baseline, moving inside, looking for Holder. Holder gets it off a pin bowling ball, and his shot was stripped down low by Smith. Baldwin's got it, trailing by 3, 18-15, and we'll have a whistle. And a travel on Baldwin. Rajon Blackwell has checked in for Norman Wilson. 2 minutes gone by in the second quarter. 3-point Holy Trinity lead. Will have a foul away from the ball. Offensive foul on Holy Trinity. Nick McTeague. McTie, pardon me. Javion Bivens able to split a couple of defenders. Bivens on the left elbow draws some contact. Holy Trinity foul against Tyler Small. Inbounded to John Smith. Back up top it comes for Bivens. And a second-year starter, third-year player for this Baldwin team. Has a chance to become the first Baldwin player ever to win 3 consecutive county titles. Puts it on the floor. Bivens, shot won't go. Big rebound, kept alive for a moment, but trying to throw it off of Holder. Holder, the wiser, and able to recover it. Small, now Winter, open on the baseline, feeds down low. And Callahan unable to keep it in. Rajon Blackwell beating the pressure of Holy Trinity. Baldwin still looking for their first points of the quarter. 3 minutes in. Turnaround jumper, tough shot. Battle for the rebound. Out of bounds off of Nassim Silent. Derek Ruffin Jr. returning. Started a couple games this year. Darius Burton refers to him as the junkyard dog, as he'd had some big moments. Scored 7 points in the fourth quarter against Bayshore in that win. Down low on the blocks, Winter turns back over his left shoulder. That one rattles off. Out of bounds to Holy Trinity. McTie will throw it in. Finds Small on the left elbow. Second field goal today for Tyler Small, and the Holy Trinity lead is 5 as they're on a 10-0 run. McTie picking up his second personal foul. And the next one will put Baldwin in the bonus. Winter's going to get his first break today. Bovell inbounds to Rajon Blackwell. Blackwell tied up on the way into the lane. And Baldwin will keep it on the held ball. Blackwell to Bivens. Bivens dribbling in the left hand. Back out it comes. Up top for Blackwell. Right side, this is Bovell. Bovell was called for a travel. Thornton Scott off a screen, pick and roll with he and Holder. Back out it comes for Small on a three. Hits the stanchion up top. Again, inside 4 minutes to go in the first half. Baldwin still looking for their first points of this quarter. Elisha Bovell inside to a wide open Nassim Silent, unable to finish it. Fabian Holder the rebound. Whistle foul on the floor against Silent. That's going to be his second. Only the fourth team foul against Baldwin, though. Pardon me, third team foul against Baldwin. Two of them are against Silent, the other one against John Smith. Norman Wilson will return. McTighe to throw it in for Holy Trinity. Gets to the left side for Scott. Scott doesn't need a lot of time. Misses on the three, though. Gets his own rebound. Tries to drive baseline. Back out it comes for McTighe. This one off the mark. Good box out. That time by Ruffin Jr. Left side corner. Wilson will put it on the floor. Moving inside to Bivens. And at the 3:09 mark of the second quarter, that is when they get their first points of the quarter. And a blocking foul on Baldwin. Well, the good news for the Bruins is that Holy Trinity has not had a world-beating second quarter either. They've scored 4 points, and the lead is 3. Scott turns it over. Ahead for Javion Bivens. Bivens now Wilson. Wilson, the lefty layup is good. 1 point game as Trinity leads 20-19. 6 foot jumper for Small is good. A little up and down action now the last few moments. Blackwell having some trouble with this. Out of bounds. Jarian Bobrun coming back in. Second-year player, 6'2" forward. Had a season-high 9 points earlier this week against Valley Stream Central. Winter wings it over to Small in the left corner. Back out it comes. Callahan will try a three and knock it down. Largest lead of the game for Holy Trinity. It's 25-19. Here's Bivens, right side, three-pointer to answer for Bovell. That won't go, and a foul over the back on Derek Ruffin Jr. .90 seconds to go in the first half. Scott got the defender up in the air, tried to feed it away, knocked away, finds its way into the hands of Small. Small, tough fadeaway, no good. Rebounded by Bobrun. Wilson pushing up the floor with his team down by 6. Left baseline, nice feed down low in the finish for Bovell. Tyler Small, offensive foul on a push-off. Small extended his left forearm and picks up his second foul. And that was the 7th against Trinity. So if they foul Baldwin Anywhere but on the defensive side, Baldwin will shoot free throws. Wilson and Bivens, two-man game. Bivens three-pointer won't go. Thornton Scott has it. He'll slow it down. Baldwin's not been able to get their threes going. Scott hit a couple towards the end of that first quarter for Holy Trinity. Tim Callahan had a big one moments ago to extend the lead to 6 at the time. 8-second difference between the shot and the game clock. Winter real strong on that pass. A little too hot for Tyler Small to handle. And Darius Burton going to call a timeout. And we talked about the depth for Baldwin. As Darius Burton says, there are instances where he's gone 10-11 deep in the first half. The drop off from 6 to 11, he feels, is not a huge drop off, which is why he can play so many guys. They played 11 versus Bayshore last week. And you see, he uses them very frequently. It's almost like they're hockey lines. Guys are playing a minute and a half or so and coming out, minus their big three returners of Wilson, Javion Bivens, and Elijah Bovell. Those guys who contributed some good minutes last year to a county championship. Here's Bo Brunt, double dribbled. So Holy Trinity will hold for the final shot, 8 seconds. Jenkins a three, no good. Batted around, Trinity gets it back. Winter at the free throw line, that won't fall. Another one for Winter, that one is in and out. So Holy Trinity got 3 cracks at it just before the end of the half, but could not put it down. Despite that, they hold a 4-point edge. At halftime, it's 25-21 in a low-scoring contest. The second quarter was a quarter where both teams struggled to find points. Just 15 combined points scored between the two teams. And with that, Holy Trinity has a 4-point lead, 25-21, as we get ready to start the third quarter. In the final game from the Garrett Charles Hoops Classic, Matt Schroeder, Tom Schnars, Pat McCormick with you from Adelphi University. Tosh Jenkins bringing the ball up, finding Tyler Small. Small had 6 points in the first half for Holy Trinity. He and Thornton Scott led the way. Scott with 8 points, 6 of those coming off back-to-back three-pointers. Scott with it right now. Outside for Winter. He'll try a three, won't go. Tip back, up and in. Tyler Small right there for it. Baldwin struggling so far. Scott quickly up ahead. Blocked from behind. That was Rieger going in for the block. Bivens, he'll try a three-pointer. Short on that shot. Scott's got it. Ahead for Holy Trinity. Scott, it'll be Jenkins in the corner. Nothing but net. Tosh Jenkins rings up a triple, and the lead is 9 for Holy Trinity. Very quickly out of the gate in this third quarter. Largest lead of the night for the Titans. Bovell to Rieger. Back up top, Wilson. Elijah Bovell a three, in and out. But Baldwin cannot buy a bucket since the first quarter. Straight away, long three-pointer over the top. And then a foul on Aiden Barry. That is his third personal foul. Egan Rieger at 6'6". There's not going to be a lot of people who are able to go one-on-one with him for a rebound. Wilson bounces it out to Bivens. Bivens, he'll try a three, no good. Skied up, 4 by Small. Small lead pass ahead for Winter. Scott was calling for it. He does get it in the corner. Scott trying to bounce on the lane, stripped of the ball by Wilson. Out of bounds, it'll stay with Holy Trinity. So Winter to inbound for Trinity, finds Scott in the corner. Scott feeding it back down low for Barry. Barry up with it, and he's fouled by Ian Rieger. Rieger's first. Barry missing on the first. And the second as well, so 0 for 2 for Aiden Barry. Ian Rieger's got the board. Wilson. Another empty possession for Baldwin, up ahead for Winter. Nobody there on the defensive side. And an 11-point lead for Holy Trinity as Cameron Winter's up to 6. I mean, Holy Trinity is putting on defensively probably the best performance that Baldwin has seen this year. A combo really of Holy Trinity's defense and Baldwin not hitting their shots. This is a Baldwin team that their lowest output of the season was 58 in a 58-56 win over Bayshore just before the new year. In 2 games since then, they scored 95 against Valley Stream Central and 82 against Plainview Old Bethpage. That Valley Stream Central game, to put this into perspective, they've scored 21 points 2.5 minutes into the third quarter. They scored 38 points in that opening quarter against Valley Stream Central earlier this week on January 4th. So it's an offense that is capable. For much of this season, they've been around that 60-ish point. They scored 60 in a win over Mount St. Michael's, 63 in the win over East Meadow, and 62 in the win over Port Washington. So they are struggling to find that offensive identity right now. Silent to inbound, gets it back. Little pressure from Holy Trinity. And into the capable hands of Javion Bivens. And another turnover. The Trinity pressure forcing Baldwin to doing things they don't want to do. Cameron Winter now to Scott. Scott up top calling for a screen, trying to set himself free for a long-range shot. Turnover, Holy Trinity. Bivens has it. Javion Bivens with 7 points for Baldwin, 5 of them coming in the first quarter. Bovell, you heard the slap from up here. And the foul against Thornton Scott. And Elisha Bovell at the line. That one bounces in. Bovell averaging just under 13 points a game. A captain, he was primarily the 6th man last year, but he played starters minutes. All-conference performer a year ago. Only makes 1 of 2. Here's Winter. A lot of screens up top. Silent able to intercept the pass. Bounced it ahead for Bivens. Back it comes for Silent. Too strong off the window. Rebounded by Barry. Lead pass long ahead. Winter's got it. Feeds it into the corner for Jenkins. In and out on the three. Winter on the rebound. Rieger trying to alter the shot, but Winter going strong over the big man. Bivens into the lane. Knocked away by Holy Trinity. So midway through the third, through the last 12 minutes, this Baldwin team has scored just 7 points. A team that is 7-0 on the season. Wilson throwing it away. You know, some of the shooting miscues you can understand because of, you know, a lot of these guys first time playing in a college gym with the shooting eye a little different. But some of the passes and turnovers that they've had are just very un-Baldwin-like. Left side three-pointer, good for Jenkins. Taj Jenkins now with 8 points. And a 37-22, 15-point advantage for Holy Trinity. Rieger fouled from behind. It's going to be Tyler Small's third personal foul. That shot's no good. Aiden Barry the rebound for Holy Trinity. Norman Wilson. Oh, Aiden Barry called on the foul, and it's going to be his fourth personal foul. With 3:04 to go in the third. There's Norm Wilson. Silent. Up top for Bovell. Bovell knifing his way down the lane. That won't go. Fabian Holder has it for Trinity. 2:37 to go in the third quarter. Winter blocked from behind by Smith. Rieger kicking it out for Wilson. He'll try a three. That's good. The first field goal of the third for Baldwin comes to the 2:17 mark. Interception, they get it back, Bovell. Little 10-foot jumper is good. And it's back to a 10-point contest, 37-27. And Holy Trinity taking a timeout, wanting to nip it in the bud right there. Earlier this week, they had dropped 2 contests in a row. They won their first 6 games of the season. They were 6-0. And then lost to St. Anthony's in their first league contest. At home, they said they didn't play well offensively. And they were looking forward to this weekend. They had St. John the Baptist on Friday, and then today to kind of put that game behind them. And they have right now a 10-point advantage. It's not been the prettiest, but for Joe Conifrey, a win is a win, and then you'd rather build off of that than have to worry about a loss. Jenkins and Trinity getting it back out. Scott will try a three, short on that one. Kept alive by Silent. And Baldwin pushing ahead, feeling a little momentum. Hitting back-to-back baskets for the first time in this half. Norm Wilson off a screen from Rieger. Double team comes out quickly as he was trying to throw it into Rieger, but that one went nowhere close to anybody. A foul on the floor. Bovell is on the personal. Three-pointer for Scott, no good. Bovell's got it with 90 seconds left. Silent, he'll try a three. That's good. Holy Trinity quickly out. That shot a little short. All of a sudden, Trinity's gone cold from the floor. Baldwin, confidence rising. You could see Silent thought about it. They close inside the final minute of the third quarter. Wilson moving his way into the lane, no good. The putback stays out of the iron also. Thornton Scott dribbling between the legs at the top of the key. Defense switches up. He's got John Smith, the forward, on him. Scott bounce pass out of bounds. Both teams have had their dry spells where things look very clanky and out of sorts. Final 30 seconds of the third quarter. Shot clock is off. Trinity out up top pressuring. Bovell thought about it, kicks it back out for Smith. Smith trying to force it inside to Bovell. Didn't have much there, turns it over. 8 seconds to go. Gotta watch for Scott. Scott had his shot blocked, goes back up, is fouled. With 3 seconds to go, Thornton Scott will go to the line. So Thornton Scott go to the free throw line for the first time tonight. Again, making his season debut on Friday in St. John the Baptist. And just 3 points. He broke his foot playing basketball in October. This is third year starting for Trinity. Lead back to 9. But Baldwin getting closer as they had an 8-0 run towards the end of that third quarter. But they went much of it without a field goal. A 9-point lead for Holy Trinity as we head to the fourth. Start of the fourth quarter, 39-30, Trinity leading. And right away, Bellamy Marcus is going to be whistled for a personal foul. That is the 5th team foul against Trinity to start it off. Javion Bivens forcing his way in and traveled. And it comes to Bellamy Marcus, who we hadn't seen much of in this game, and then Winter stepped out of bounds. Well, really for both teams who are as high achieving as they are and who have the expectations where they are for both squads. The amount of mental mistakes for both teams has been uncanny. And Bivens is fouled on his way to the basket. Oh, Bellamy Marcus, who just checked in, picked up his second personal foul. Nassim Silent traveled. Silent was the leading scorer on the JV last year. This year he's one of only 3 underclassmen on the team. Baldwin's showing some pressure. Trinity coughs it up inside, underneath, one bounce, and put in by Ruffin Jr. And then Baldwin will be whistled for a foul. Silent's got his 3rd personal foul. Long ahead to Winter, numbers for Trinity. Blocked from behind. Holder got it back, but he stepped out of bounds. All right, John Smith. We've seen a couple of Baldwin players adjust and be able to get that almost halo-type block. Bivens has pressure picked up near midcourt. Bivens will move to the left side for Ruffin Jr. Now it's Bovell back in for Ruffin Jr. Back-to-back baskets for the senior. Lobbed ahead. Winter might have gotten away with a travel. Half the gym called for it. The other half were Trinity fans. Winter in the air, hangs up and gets into double figures. The lead is 7 for Holy Trinity at 41-34. 2 minutes gone in the 4th. Outside, Silent thought about the 3, bounces it for Bivens. Double team comes out on Bivens as the screen. Edge out, Fabian Holder's got a foul on him. And that will put Baldwin in the bonus. With 6 minutes to go. For a team that has struggled from the field today. It's given them a little window of daylight. So Jabion Bivens, 7 points tonight. Sees an average of 15, but Bivens missing on the free throw. Here's Thornton Scott over midcourt. Tyler Small fouled from behind. And that's the 3rd foul on John Smith. Smith, who had a double-double against Bayshore last week. Oh, Small knocking down the free throw. All Catholic League last year as a sophomore. Well, despite some jeering from the crowd, Small connects with both. Norman Wilson up top for Bivens. Bivens between the legs, forces his way in, draws the foul. And Bellamy Marcus, who's got a reputation as a very good defensive player, has 3 fouls in 2.5 minutes since coming into the game. And Bivens back to the line. Missed the first free throw a moment ago, misses this one as well. Baldwin just 1 of 4 from the stripe so far. Bivens earlier this season had 7 3-pointers in a game. He's had 30 points in a game. But the woes from the free throw line continue for Jabion Bivens. Cameron Winter trying to get around Bovell. Scott will have a foul away from the ball against Holy Trinity on Fabian Holder. The foul starting to pile up on both sides. Norman Wilson, and a foul on the other side on Baldwin. Winter over the timeline. Tyler Small. Thornton Scott. Scott into the lane, shot won't go. John Smith's got the rebound for Baldwin. And a foul on Holy Trinity, Noah Travel. So another turnover for Baldwin. Cameron Winter gets rid of it. Trinity moving it around. Scott feeding down low on the baseline for Small, and he traveled. Boy, neither team wants the ball right now. 4:25 to go in the game. 43-34 is your score with Trinity on top. Wilson unabated to the basket. 30-second timeout called by Baldwin. They've been down by 7 a couple times, and they've not been able to get over this hump, so to speak. It's been a low-scoring game, a game marred by turnovers on both sides and some inconsistent shooting. I don't think either coach would say that you've gotten the best effort or performance from their squad so far tonight. Trinity having a little trouble with the Baldwin pressure right now. Small. And a foul, offensive foul going against Small and Holy Trinity. 4th foul of the game against Small. And Trinity turns the ball over. And again, we talked about it. Baldwin has been within 7 a couple of times, trying to get below that. Bovell, left side, Wilson. He'll try a 3, it's good. Wilson with a team-high 12. And a foul off ball by Baldwin. Nassim Silent, that's his 4th personal. And the next foul against Baldwin will put Trinity in the bonus. Here's Winter, gonna heave it ahead for Jenkins. And a defense chant trying to come alive for the Baldwin side. Scott, three-pointer, drills it. Thornton Scott with 13 for Trinity. Silent to answer. Well off the mark. Winter's got it for the Titans. Winter up ahead for Small, who lays it in. Just like that, the lead back to 9 for Trinity with 3+ to go. Holder hedges out on Wilson and then comes up with a steal. Tie up down low. And the possession will stay with Baldwin. And they change that. Somebody's sleeping at the score table. Happened in the last game too. Hills West, Hills East. That saw Hills East handing Hills West their first loss of the year. Trinity trying to do the same to Baldwin with a 9-point advantage late. Winter to the basket is fouled. And John Smith has his 4th foul. So Winter with 10 points tonight, back to the line. 0 of 2 from the stripe this evening. Malcolm Winter, who had carried much of the load with Scott out. And the lead to double figures for Trinity, 49-39. And then Winter picks up a foul. It almost feels like there has been a foul or a turnover every trip down the floor for the last 3 minutes. It is vacuumed some of the energy out of the building, if you will. Bivens knocking in the first free throw. Hits a pair. Bounce pass ahead for Scott. 2.5 minutes to play in this one. 49-41, Trinity leading Baldwin. Winter trying to get it away, finds Jenkins in the corner. Jenkins into the lane, shot won't go, gets his own rebound, that won't go. And then a foul as Holder went up with it. Ruffin Jr. picks up his 3rd foul. Holder making 1 of 2. Javion Bivens to the basket. And Baldwin has had a tough time tonight getting shots to go. Bovell short on that one. Another rebound, another chance for Baldwin, and a foul on Holy Trinity. Scott picks up the personal, his third. Elijah Bevell to the line. Bovell missed the second one. Inside, 2 minutes to go. I'll have a timeout called by Trinity as they were in trouble on the sideline. Well, coming up next week, the top-level basketball continues on Long Island. It's the Nassau-Suffolk Showdown. First at 4 p.m., we'll have Brentwood against the defending Class A state champs in Elmont. And then Copeg against Uniondale. Tom Schnarr's his alma mater. Meanwhile, I got Pat McCormick on hand today. He's a Trinity alumnus. Pass intercepted. Baldwin moving up ahead quickly. Bivens, the easy lay-in. And Baldwin not going away. A 6-point game with a minute and a half to go. Baldwin fans wanting a travel called. Scott nearly threw the ball away. Holy Trinity living dangerously here in the last couple moments. Small has it poked from behind. 15 on the shot clock. Another turnover. Bivens has it again. Bivens finger roll in front. 4-point game as Bivens has back-to-back steals and points. 4-point game in the final minute. Timeout. Joe Conifrey and Trinity. So Baldwin turning defense to offense. In this point in the game, you get into some of the championship pedigree. Javion Bivens, the only returning starter last year. We mentioned a couple times throughout this broadcast. He has the potential to be the first player in Baldwin history to win 3 county titles. He's putting the team on his back the last couple possessions, creating turnovers and easy lay-ins. And got Baldwin back to within 4. It's 50-46 with a minute to go. Thornton Scott will heave it all the way to the backcourt. Baldwin not wanting to foul, nearly turned it over again. Lucky bounce as it gets right into the hands of Small, who puts it in. A fortunate bounce as Baldwin almost intercepted another pass. Scott's got the rebound. Leaves it ahead. This ball still up for grabs. Thrown around to the floor, and that should be a travel, and it is. Boy, if that one wasn't a travel, I think some of the Baldwin fans here might have started to. I don't know what they would have done. They would have been pretty irate, though. They've wanted a couple travels so far. Bivens fouled. And a chance for Baldwin to cut into this without any time coming off the board. Scott's 4th foul. And Bivens, who's got 12 tonight, he's just 1 of 4 from the free throw line. So big free throws coming up. That rattles in. .26 seconds left. Makes both. Darius Burton calls a timeout. Darius, 3-time Long Island championship. He said they come every 4 years in the presidential elections, 2008, 2012, and 2016. He's hoping to break that streak this year. But right now, in the immediate moment, trying to see his team battle back from 4 down with 26 seconds left and keep the loss column empty for his club. And Baldwin on pressure. Holy Trinity is able to break that. Baldwin will foul now, as that will send Tyler Small to the line. So Tyler Small has got 12 points today, 2 of 2 from the stripe. Some shrieks coming from the sideline. Small making it, though. He gets one more shot. And very much so an opportunity for Small to put some distance between Trinity and Baldwin. Right to the cup, Bivens gets it, and another timeout. For Darius Burton. Baldwin pressuring again, able to get it back. Silent to the basket, lays it up and in. It's a 2-point game with 5 seconds to go. Timeout, Baldwin. Well, that might be the first time this game that Darius Burton has been able to have a smile. And now, as we set up the situation, Baldwin has to force the turnover. Because if Trinity is even able to inbound the ball, even if they foul right away, I would think that Baldwin would not have enough time to go down the length of the floor. And the next foul would also be the 10th against Baldwin, so it would be 2 free throws regardless for Holy Trinity. So Baldwin out of the timeout, trying to pull off an improbable finish. They've scored 11 of the game's last 15 points. Winter gets it in, they foul Scott. And that for Trinity is the guy you want at the line. Trinity, if he hits both, the game is just about over. Baldwin hoping for a sliver of life. Oh, Scott misses on the first. And that makes things very interesting. So as long as Baldwin gets a rebound and there's nobody even on the box for Trinity. So Trinity will take a timeout, up by 3 with 3.3 seconds left. This is a game in which Baldwin struggled to score for most of it. Obviously, Holy Trinity did as well, but Baldwin had long dry spells. And it wasn't until they ratcheted up their defense in the last minute and a half or so that really start to give them an opportunity. Baldwin led by 10 with about 2 minutes to go. Holy Trinity led by 10, pardon me, with about 2 minutes to go. And now if you're Baldwin, obviously you're thinking about a long shot with 3.3 seconds left. You're not going to be able to get too far. And then who is it that you're looking for? You're looking for Bivens. That seems Silent hit a 3 a moment ago. Norman Wilson's got that capability. So Silent will inbounds. Thornton Scott in to defend him. Baseball pass down the sideline. Goes out of bounds, turnover. Baldwin never got a shot at it. And because it never got inbounds, Trinity can inbound right where they are. And they inbound to Scott. And Scott is fouled. So after only making 1 of 2 a moment ago, Scott has an opportunity to ice the game. Makes it. So that will basically seal the fate for Baldwin. And Trinity will hand Baldwin their first loss of the year. As a heave down, but an empty heave at that. 57-52, Trinity moves to 8-2 on the season, knocking off Baldwin to 7-1. The Titans were led by Thornton Scott, 16 points. Tyler Small also had 14, and Malcolm Winter had 11. Javion Bivens, 16 points were not enough in the comeback effort as Trinity 57-52 over Baldwin today, and that'll do it from Adelphi University for our entire News 12 Varsity crew, including Tom Schnars, our producer. I'm Matt Shorter saying so long, and we'll catch you next time on News 12 Varsity.